Hey, Tony Gas is here, just popping in at training with my oldest son, me and Tatum, in here in the van. Now, somebody was asking me about age difference. And when we think about the age difference situation, and this topic always get people in their feelings because everybody assumes that they are the exception to the rule. Now, me personally, it's a sensitive topic because my dad and his wife are maybe, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years apart. My barber and his wife may be 10 years apart. My security guard and his wife may be 10 years apart or 12 years apart. Like, I'm not even sure. So I'm directly, and when I go on the road, those are the three men that's with me: my dad, my barber, my security guard. So you got to understand that me telling the truth on this is risky for me because I could offend one of them. But I don't believe in relationships where there is a 10-year age gap. I don't believe in that. There is an exception to the rule. There are exceptions to the rule, but that is hard to come by. And the reason why I don't believe in relationships that are, or I don't promote it or condone it. Yes, it can happen. And yes, you can do it. You are taking a risk like with anything else, but you have to understand the risk. So if someone is, especially a man, we'll start with the man. If the man is 10 years older or more, he may feel the need to re-raise the woman. He may feel like he is so much older that the woman doesn't know what she's talking about, and it's his place to teach her everything in life. And that may be the case. And some women may like that, may appreciate that. She may have almost like a father complex with this man, and she's learning from him and growing from him, and she appreciates it. On the other hand, this could become very restrictive and very limiting for some women, and they may feel controlled, and they may feel belittled, they may feel inadequate. And so that's the issue with that. When a woman is 10 years or older, there is typically a mommy complex that the man has. And the man is seeking a woman that he's basically looking for a mother that he can sleep with. And he wants this woman to take care of him the way a mom takes care of a son. So cooking, cleaning, nurturing, and those are the reasons. Whereas if it's just pure genuine love, then yes, those same things may happen, but it's not his motive. It's not what he's seeking. Another thing, when the woman is older, it is also typically the man is looking for security and stability. He wants a woman that he can come up on. A woman who has her stuff together so he can take and build with her, partner with her, get a business investment. Even if he has money, I see some older women like, oh, I got a younger man and he has money, he takes care of me, he provides. Well, that means for him, it's not about a come up financially, it's the mommy complex. He wants an older woman to basically have a mom forever. And that's the issue with that. Now, with a younger woman, the man on the other side of it, when he's not trying to re-raise her, it could be to get his groove back. It makes him feel more handsome, more attractive. It makes him feel like he is his old self again. So men sometimes like younger women because of the preconceived notion or the idea that things are tighter, that things are tighter, that things are less used, less worn, less mileage is what they would call it. And so therefore it's a different type of reasoning. Whereas when the man is older, sometimes that younger woman is like the younger man. She's looking for financial security. She's looking for a man with his stuff together, because the men her age may be bumming or leeching. She wants a man who can put her on. Or who can match her where she's at. Now, all of these things may not be bad. It's just depending on whether it's good or bad. The side that I see is bad is when an older man wants a younger woman to manipulate and control her. One thing I found with the men that I know with much younger women, they don't get to manipulate and control them. Now, in certain cases, that typically starts to happen where the women who are looking for basically a sugar daddy, and they get with a man that's 15, 20, 30 years older. So there are men who are rich and they're 60 and they have a 30-year-old. You see that in the media, and you'll see that around and about town too. And typically, so that's the negative side of it. And you have this woman who has a lot of trauma, and she's broken, and everything has happened to her. She's gone through it all. And so she just wants to be secure. She wants a house. She wants a car. She wants to be able to kick her feet up and just kind of live the life. And she has already had her body taken against her will. So she will gladly give it to this man who will treat her with some respect, or any type of respect, any level of respect, but also provide a very good living for her. She is going in with the mindset of, hey, I've already been through this, and this has happened to me, and that has happened to me for free. Why not give all of that same stuff to a man, but get paid with it? Like, have a beautiful life. And so that's on that negative side of it, but both of them are getting what they want. And what I see a lot happening just in my demographic is older women wanting, because it's a lot of women that are in my demographic, but I see a lot of older women being approached by younger men. And what I try to help older women understand is that on average, a man is not authentically attracted to an older woman the way he is to a younger woman. That is why older men who are single try to get a younger woman, because on average, an older woman is not more attractive than a younger woman. Why? Skin elasticity, hair color, and body formation, muscle atrophy or deterioration. We're not talking about exceptions to the rule. So if you are an exception to the rule, this doesn't apply to you, and we don't need to hear from you in the comments, because your experience is not the common experience. But we all know as humans that as we age, things start to droop and dip and sag, and our skin starts to loosen unless we are doing cosmetic enhancements like Botox and things of that nature, and things start to change. So therefore, if based on society's beauty constructs, older is not always more attractive than younger. So what I try to warn older women of is, as a young man, meaning 20s, 30s, who is single, when I was 20, 19, 20, I was dealing with I was dealing with women who were 35 and 40. The oldest lady I dealt with was 41 when I was like 19, 20 years old. And what that was, it was a notch in the belt. It was to feel like, so what I was telling myself at 19 and 20, and I remember I was working a job in a corporate office in the summers, and these women were like 34 to 40 years old, and they were coming on to me. Like one lady literally walked up to me in the cafeteria and gave me a note which described what she wanted to do to me, and she was in her 30s, and I was just floored. I was like, I cannot believe this. And what I found is that women in their 30s were actually easier than women in their 20s, because the women in their 30s, they had gone through a lot more. Some of them had been violated on multiple occasions. They had seen the worst of the worst. They had gone through a lot more, and they had a lot more experience. So it wasn't as like, they were more jaded. They were more like, their guards were broken down. Whereas the women in their 20s still had the luxury of delusion. They still had the dream and the fantasy of like this beautiful, happy, Cinderella love. And they were harder to get because they still had their guards up, they still had their standards, and they hadn't gone through as much in life. But here I was dealing with women in their 30s who were 15 years older than me, and they were ready to lie down on the first night. And it blew my mind. And then I remember the 41-year-old, which was my mom's age. My mom had me at 20, so I was 20, and this lady, we were like meeting up and just kind of like, hugging around, flirting around. Nothing ever happened all the way, but she had maybe a husband or a long-term boyfriend that had cheated on her, and so she was kind of out having fun, trying to get her revenge. But my mom was like, Tony, please do not do nothing with her. Don't talk with her. I grew up with her. Like, that's crazy. She was like, this is sickening. I cannot believe that she's dealing with you. She was like, I grew up with her. We used to play together as children. And I was like, man, that's crazy. So this is what I'm trying to tell you on how disgusting it looks to another woman your age when you 35 dealing with a 20-year-old, or you 40 dealing with a 20-year-old or 25-year-old. You literally robbing the cradle. And so we shouldn't be doing those things, because we also have to think about the future, and we got to think about longevity. So, my goodness, bruh, but it ran all over the parking stop. So we got to think about the future, and we got to think about longevity. So the reason why I tell people, like, unless this is a natural, organic thing, like, you shouldn't go out specifically seeking someone who is 10 years or more in age difference, up or down, because if you want to grow old with the person, you want to be on the same life path. Like, you want to be in a situation where your experiences are similar. So you want to be in a situation to where, if you don't want to be in the wheelchair and the other person is like wanting to go to tour the world. Like, you want to be in the same phase of life, to where both of y'all in the wheelchair, both of y'all could use y'all Medicaid to have y'all daily nurses come over and push y'all down the hill and go to get some ice cream, and y'all could go to the sit in the handicap row at the movie theater. Both of y'all wheel y'all wheelchairs, or you get your mechanical wheelchairs, and y'all just wheeling around the city mechanically together. Because imagine you being in your wheelchair or on your walker, or you now about on your deathbed, and the person that you love is out getting their bike broke because they 15, 20 years younger than you. And so now in your last days, you basically, now you done shifted from going to heaven to going to hell because of all of the thoughts that you thinking, and you never about homicidal because you getting cheated on so bad because you want to have somebody way younger than you. And so that's what you have to think about as well. And then you have to think about, generational things, just like being able to enjoy similar music, similar movies, similar style of dress. All of these things play into this, and people get into this age different stuff, and they get so caught up in the exceptions to the rule. Like everybody, every time I mention this, they mention this one guy who I think they say is somebody in France, and his wife is like a lot older than him or something, and I don't know if they say she used to be his nanny or something. And it's like, okay, and like, can't you see the problem with that? Like, that don't look good. That's not attractive. But it's typically, older men and older women in their feelings when I talk about this, because younger people want them, so they think. Whereas the only reason a younger woman wants a older man is for financial security or maturity. Yes, he could look decent to her, but she really wants somebody that is going to be in a better position than men her age. On average. That's on average. There are exceptions to the rule. But that doesn't mean something is wrong with her wanting that security. But it's important that the man has that knowledge and understanding and doesn't believe that it's his looks or, who he is that makes her want him. He needs to understand that she wants you because you should represent something different than what she is accustomed to at her age group. She wants to be in a better financial position. She wants a man that she believes is going to go to work and come home and not be in the streets playing. And so she wants that security. And the same thing with an older woman. You have to realize that that man, it's not that he's lusting after your body or he thinks that you are more sexy than women his age. It's that he's hoping that you have a 800 credit score and you have a house and you have a 401k and you have a savings and you have a good job, so that he can come in and he can build with you if he has all those same things, because a lot of women his age doesn't have those things. And so majority of people I talk to are struggling financially. Like most of America is struggling financially. And so a lot of times people who elevate to that top 10%, top 15, 20% in the world, in America, they want to try to find somebody who is on that same level. Like, imagine, like if I was a single man, I probably have met out of over meeting 5,000, 10,000 women, I probably have met maybe 2 women. Maybe 1 or 2 women who earn what I earn. So that's the thing. It's like sometimes people are just looking for someone who matches them. And then if I think about the 1 or 2 women that I've met who earn what I earn, I'm not attracted to them. So then if I got with them, it would solely be a business decision to be able to match income and build as a power couple. And this is what I try to get people to understand. So that's the thing, how this thing works. And so you have to be very realistic, and you have to be aware, and you have to get out of your insecurity, because like no one wants to grow old, and no one wants to be known as a gold digger, be seen as a gold digger. So if a younger person is with an older person, the younger person doesn't want their older person to think, hey, I wanted you because of just because of your maturity, or because I hope you will be more mature than guys my age or women my age, or I wanted you because your financial security or what have you. They want the person to believe, I wanted you for you, just for like your heart, your personality, who you are. And then an older person with a younger person, they don't want that younger person to think like, hey, I wanted you because you're fun and because you make me feel like a young whippersnapper, and you're going to break my back, and you're going to make me feel like I got my groove back, or I'm still him, or I'm still her. And really, I wanted you for an ego boost, because being with somebody my age made me feel over the hump, or what have you. And so nobody wants to admit any ulterior motives. And that's why you have to be realistic with yourself and for yourself. So, and then people get mad at me for giving you a personal example. It like, if I say like, hey, I see older women, like if I was a single man, I see older women who are attractive, but there's a difference between someone being attractive and wanting to be with that person. So it's like, yes, an older woman could be attractive, but she's still gonna have different issues than a woman my age. So I'm 39, I'll be 40 in March, right? So let's say I was a single man and I was about to meet like a 50-year-old woman. It's only 10 years older than me when I turn 40. It's only 10 years older than me, but we could be in two very different stages of life. Because at 50 or whatever age, she could be she could be in menopause, or getting ready to go through menopause, or maybe that's at 60 or whatever. But same thing, if I was 50 and she was 60, that's what I'm saying. So it's like menopause is a different stage of life, hot flashes, what have you, different things. Let's say the man wants one more child, and there are women I've heard as old as 53 that's giving birth, but it's very, very high risk. And so you can appreciate someone's personality, and you can think that they're attractive, but when you think about building life together and the life path and the life phase that you're in, that's when you may be in different things, and you gotta make sure that this is authentic, this is organic, and that this is understood. So let's say okay, let's say a 40-year-old man say he want to train for a marathon, and he want to do it with his other half, and the woman is 50. She would have to be an exception to the rule to be running a marathon at 50. Most people at 50 will tell you that they're not thinking about no marathon. Like, that's not on their mind. They're thinking about like their future, their dreams, like building their business, building their brand. It's very few that's an exception to the rule. So yes, it exists, but you gotta go further and wider to meet that person. And so this is what you have to understand, is that with these age gap relationships, that's 10 or more years. Because what you got to realize, 10 or more years, that puts you in two different decades. So the 20s and the 30s, somebody born in the 20s different than somebody born in the 30s. Somebody born in the 90s is different than somebody born in the 2000s. You know, somebody born in the 80s is different than somebody born in the 90s. Somebody born in the 70s different than somebody born in the 80s. Because when you think about that, if you think about the 50s, then you think about the 60s, you think about the 70s, you think about the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, all, like each one of these decades has its own distinct sound of music, its own distinct clothing, its own distinct just aura and mentality and movement. And so that's what you have to think about when you're in a decade difference, when you're a decade apart in a relationship, is the differences and the challenges that you're going to face. And then you also have to make sure that it is organic, like y'all met organically. Like, here's the thing. If somebody is seeking someone that's a decade older or a decade younger, that's not an organic connection. That was deliberate. That would be first degree dating. It's not second degree dating. So just like first degree murder, second degree murder, what is first degree murder? That is pre-planned. It's premeditated. So if someone is saying, I want someone a decade or more younger or a decade or more older, they are pre-planning. They pre-planning what they want. It's time. Oh no, it was 10:30. Yeah, 10:30. My son trainer just walked to the car with a box of stuff. I wonder why he brought the box to the car instead of waiting to the end of the training. Now he going back out there. And so that is not what you want, but that's oftentimes what happens. Like one of the people in the relationship is finessed. They thought that this was an organic, authentic meeting and that they hit it off, and not realizing that they were actually sought out and preyed upon for specific reasons, that there were ulterior motives that played into this relationship, and one person is oftentimes left in the blind. And that's why I just, as a rule of thumb, say stay away from it if at all possible. If it happens, it happens. If it happens, you need to have your set of tests, like not playing games, but you need to have some cues in mind. So let's say the play for the younger person is financial security. If this person go to talking too much about your savings, your finances, your credit score, you owning a house, you this and that, within those first few months, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. Yes, that is something people want to talk about. A lot. When a woman talk about it, like a woman who got her stuff together, when she talking about it, it's a little more authentic. If a man is talking to a woman about her finances, that's always a red flag, because that don't matter to men. Like, to a man, it don't matter. It really don't matter, because as a man, a real man, we a problem solver, we a stabilizer, we providers. Like, my wife could have a 500 credit score. I could not care less, because I'm going to get out here and get it. I ain't worried about no credit score. She could have $0 in the bank. I could not care less, because I'm going to get out here and get it. She could be working at Wendy's. I could not care less, because I'm going to get out here and get it. And that's the mentality of a heterosexual provider male who is a man of God. God got me, so I know he got us. So I'm not worried about where she at financially. And then as long as she have a heart to listen, to learn, to grow, meaning to the will of God, to the mission of our life, is different now if she just a degenerate and I go make $1 million and she got access to it and she just go spend it all on purses and don't pay the bills. Now that's different. But as long as a woman has a growth mindset and she willing to grow and she willing to like get on board and be a team, not disrupt or tear down what's trying to be built, then a grown man don't care about where she at financially, because we understand that a man is supposed to protect and provide a woman anyways. Like, a woman is not supposed to be out here on her own by herself. And that's why it's such a tough thing for a lot of women who find themselves by themselves for an extended period of times, because in their heart they would rather have someone to build with and to partner with. Now, a lot of times when I talk to those women, it be a large part is their doing as well, because it'll be a situation where they don't want who wants them, or want, who they're compatible with. They don't want that. They want someone that, a man they look up to, or a man that they feel is on their level, but they don't know their level and can't see their level through the perspective of a man. And so that's what I call delusion. And I try to help them understand, like, no, okay, you want this type of man, you want this man, but you're not the equivalent of that man, and that's why you single. This right here is your equivalent, and the two of y'all can team up and partner, and y'all could build together, and both of y'all could lose weight, both of y'all could build wealth, both of y'all could dress better, both of y'all could look better, and y'all could partner together. Or y'all could partner together and stay, dressing like y'all aunties and uncles, and stay with y'all hairstyles and just stay there. But this right here is where is your level that you need to build with. You want somebody that's a Renaissance man or woman, and that already evolved and got everything together, and from their studies and travels, and and you have not done that. This person done went to 26 countries. You done barely been out the state. So conversation not gonna be same. Your palate not gonna be the same. Or you done been to Mexico, Punta Cana, but the person that you want lived in Europe for 6 months, lived in Africa for 6 months, lived in Asia for 6 months. Y'all not compatible. And so this is why I try to help people to understand. So, and this is what I'm trying to tell you, I really do this. Like, a lot of folks out here just talking, I really do this. I'm really all the way in the trenches every single day with my finger on the pulse. Like, I still do one-on-one sessions every single day, except for Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes I get a break, but sometimes I'm coaching Saturday and Sunday too. And so I'm getting to see and really be in the mix of people's experiences. And this is where I form these opinions from. This is from deep study. This ain't just me sitting on a mountaintop or just sitting on a soapbox just saying these are my beliefs. No, this is based on hypothesis, theories, studies, and then turning theories into laws based on extensive study and research with the finger on the pulse of the people. And that's what I try to help people understand is what I'm telling you, we're not coming from the same perspective. So your lens is far more blurry than mine because we're not in the same position. And I don't say that arrogantly or rudely. What I'm saying is, if you build an audience of 3.5 million people, and those people are engaging and interacting with you, and they're sending you their life stories and their comments and their experiences, your database is then far more vast, and you get to extract more data based on countless experiences. Whereas if you don't have that, all you have is your experiences and your friend group, your immediate circle. But when you have access to millions of people that span across 6 continents from the age of 16 to the age of 80, now you get to see and get data across the board. Don't let my confidence offend your insecurity, or don't let my truth offend the state that you in your life, because what I'm here to do is to help you, to help prepare you, but also help protect you and give you the data that you may not have access to. Not to offend you and step on your toes, rain on your parade, pee on your head and call it rain, or bust your bubble, but to give you an unadulterated truth that's based on extensive research and data. Don't be offended by a black man being in that position. And oftentimes I see people in their feelings because they got a doctorate or they got a master's, but yet they don't have my reach. They don't have my data, but yet they went to school and they read books by people who went out and did studies of 100 people or 1,000 people, and get mad with me because I've done studies of millions of people. And I've went around the world and spoke on 3 different continents on love and relationships. Since the age of 29, I spoke on another continent at the age of 29. I'm 39. So I'm saying this, God be the glory, and I'm saying this confidently to let you know that I know what I'm talking about. Not because I'm a know-it-all, but because life has showed it all. And so that's what I'm trying to help you understand, that if you want to go into your age difference relationship, you got to look well within to it, and you got to make sure that it's organic and authentic and it's for the right reasons. And you also have to make sure that you yourself are not being selfish, because I've seen women say, well, Tony, I'm 60 or I'm 55 and I'm dating, or I deal with 35-year-old men and I don't care because it's just fun for me. It's fun until you have AIDS. It's fun until the other woman he's sleeping with that's 35 come and slice your tires, bust your window out, and then put a gun to your head. It's fun until you get caught up in something and here you is going into the golden age of your life and you burning. And your thing that's getting ready to go through menopause now is slothing off because of what this young whippersnapper done brought you while you was in your fornication, which is a sin. So you will receive a recompense in your body while you fornicating gladly as a older fool. So the thing is do not get in your conceit or in your ignorance and be ignorant on purpose. Go to therapy, get coaching, and address your trauma that make you be okay with dealing with somebody that's far ages apart from you just for sex or just for money or just for experiences. That is not wise, because everything comes with something and nothing comes with nothing. Meaning every transaction that we have, something will come from that transaction. There's no movement without movement. Every action has a reaction, equal or greater reaction. So yes, you could be 60 and say you're going to have fun with a 35-year-old, but something comes from that. And it could be detrimental to your life. So don't do that unless it is authentic and organic. But less than 0.1% of the time will it be authentic and organic. So be wise and be diligent and get out of your feelings and get into the facts. Get out of your feelings and get into the reality of the world so that you could protect yourself while you out here moving around. I'm not trying to rain on your parade. I'm trying to get you to be realistic about the world we live in. It's Tony Gaskins. God bless you. We'll talk soon.